Going to prison has to be one of the scariest things that could happen to a human. Being locked inside a small room with few luxuries and too much time to think sounds like a nightmare. So discover the most dangerous prisons in the world and why you should do your best to avoid ever going to jail. 10. Diyarbakir Prison. Diyarbakir in southern Turkey is one of the world's most cruel jails, with pervasive and systemic prisoner maltreatment. Overcrowding is common at the prison, and convicts are frequently subjected to various sorts of torture, such as sleep deprivation, physical beatings, and even a dog trained to bite genitals. Former Diyarbakir Mayor Mehdi Zana, who spent nearly a decade in prison, said that fresh detainees were dumped into a bathtub full with human faces. That's only the top of the iceberg. When Diyarbakir was used as a military jail in the 1980s, numerous people were slain by guards and scores committed suicide. 9. Muhanga Prison. Rwanda's Muhanga Prison, formerly known as Gitarama Prison, was designed to house 400 prisoners, but eventually housed 7,000. As you can expect, living conditions within the prison are appalling, and many detainees suffer from gangrene as a result of the unclean circumstances. Because they are frequently compelled to stand all day on wet and muddy ground, the health problems are numerous and severe. There has even been talk of cannibalism. According to Bridget Troyan of the International Committee of the Red Cross, the conditions here are completely inhumane. 8. Santé Prison. La Santé, which is located in Paris, is not your normal prison. Since its founding in 1867, it has been the location of countless uprisings, executions, and escapes. According to prison doctor Veronique Vassar, inmates frequently suffer from health problems due to a variety of circumstances, such as inadequately ventilated quarters and only being able to shower twice a week. The living circumstances at La Santé were so bad that several inmates attempted suicide. Given these circumstances, we find it difficult to think that a jail would contain the French equivalent of the term health in its name. 7. Sabaneta Prison. From 1958 to 2013, this jail in Maracaibo, Venezuela, was an extraordinarily brutal prison. Sabaneta was built to keep 700 prisoners, but housed 3,700 by the time it closed in the early 2010s. The prison was totally managed by the convicts, replete with a gang hierarchy and prans. Mako Edwin, a man who committed triple homicide in the late 2000s, was one of the prans. Naturally, there was a lot of fighting in the prison. In 1994, convicts allegedly ignited a fire and killed people attempting to flee, resulting in over 150 deaths. In 2013, the prison's final year of operation, 69 detainees were slain by other inmates. 6. Guantanamo Bay. Guantanamo Bay, located off the coast of Cuba, was established in 2002 by President George Walker Bush. Following the September 11th attacks, Bush declared a war on terror and established Guantanamo Bay as a military jail. The jail has been widely chastised for its indefinite incarceration without trial and systematic use of torture, including waterboarding and sexual abuse. There have also been reports of a number of suicides and suicide attempts. The number of detainees was reduced during the Obama administration, but Guantanamo Bay remains open. Amnesty International has termed the facility a grave violation of human rights, referring to it as the Gulag of our times. 5. Carandiru Penitentiary. Carandiru in Brazil, built in 1920, was once South America's largest jail, housing over 8,000 convicts. The institution was notorious for its low quality of life, widespread health problems, and severe human rights violations. The latter ultimately resulted in the Carandiru massacre. Following the football game, a confrontation between two teams erupted into a wild jail riot. The military police were summoned and massacred the inmates, many of whom were unarmed and murdered in defensive positions. By the end of the incident, 111 detainees had died, having been shot 515 times. Over 60 police officers were convicted for their crimes, but the trials were later declared null and void. 4. Bang Kwang Central Prison. Bang Kwang Central Prison is located just north of Bangkok in Thailand. Bang Kwang, Thailand's execution chamber, was established in 1933 and is infamous for housing high-risk and violent prisoners. Historically, inmates were generally required to wear shackles bonded to their legs to prevent escape, though these restrictions were repealed in 2013. Nonetheless, the overcrowded convicts are all crammed into cramped cells, and torture is reportedly widespread. Previous captives have related instances of guards abusing mentally sick, elderly, and pregnant convicts, and famished inmates attacking each other over everything of value. When it comes to meals, the phrase maggot infested appears to crop up frequently. 3. San Quentin State Prison. San Quentin, California's oldest jail, opened in 1852, and remains one of the most infamous penitentiaries in the United States. It is known as the country's most populous death row, with the New York Times calling it the largest in the Western Hemisphere. Over 400 individuals have been executed at San Quentin since 1893. It has housed some of America's most dangerous men, such as Charles Manson, Richard Ramirez, and Richard Chase. The prison is also renowned for being extremely old, outdated, and filthy, with convicts receiving inadequate medical care. 2. Alcatraz. Although it closed in 1963, Alcatraz was notorious at the time and remains one of the most iconic jails in the world due to its notoriety and distinctive environment. The prison's remote and secluded position on Alcatraz Island, just off the coast of San Francisco, made it the ideal place to jail high-risk and dangerous criminals. Life within the jail was claimed to be hell, with many convicts going insane and committing suicide as a result of the constant violence and bad living circumstances. Due to its infamy, it was dubbed Alcatraz and imprisoned some of the most prominent criminals of the time, including Al Capone, Mickey Cohen, Machine Gun Kelly, and Robert Stroud, aka the Bertman of Alcatraz. 1. ADX Florence. ADX Florence, located in Fremont County, Colorado, is a supermax prison, one step higher than maximum security, housing the absolute worst criminals in the country. These criminals are frequently exceedingly aggressive, posing a major threat to prison staff, other convicts, and even national security. Florence has just 359 inmates, each of whom is locked in a small concrete cell for 23 hours a day. Inside the cells, mental health frequently deteriorates, and at least 8 detainees appear to have committed suicide over the years. Among the most well-known inmates include the 1993 World Trade Center attackers, numerous terrorists with Al-Qaeda ties, the Boston Marathon bomber, the Unabomber, and Terry Nichols of the Oklahoma City bombing. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.